In this video, we're going to go over building an ERD, or Entity Relationship Diagram. You'll be doing it this week for your Wildwood database that you'll be designing this semester. With your MySQL workbench open like so, the first thing you're going to do is click the plus button next to the models down in the lower left-hand corner. Here you'll be presented with a page that shows your current schema for this model, which right now is labeled MyDB. MyDB is kind of generic, so we're going to want to change that name to something that's more representative of what the database is going to be. To do this, we'll click on where it says MyDB. We'll double click. A window will pop up below and you'll be able to rename it. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to label it School and then click Add Diagram. MySQL does allow you to add multiple diagrams per model, but for the CIT 111 course, we'll only be adding one diagram per model. Now you'll just click on EER Diagram, and then we'll be able to edit our first entity relationship diagram. This is the main screen that you're going to be using to actually create your diagram. The tools shown to the left, the little icons, are the things that are actually going to be used in order to create the diagram. This first icon we'll be using is just the select tool in order to move things around in the diagram. This next one will be used in order to insert a text object in order to annotate your different parts of your diagram. This next one will be used in order to insert a new table or entity into your diagram. These icons are used to add relationships between your multiple entities. However, in this class, we're going to focus on using these two dashed relationships. Mainly, the one-to-many will be used. There also may be times that we use the many-to-many relationship, and I'll show you an example of that at the end of this video. In this example, we're going to be building the entities that are shown to the right here. Let's start by adding our first entity by clicking and then clicking again to place it. It then inserts the table and gives it a default table name of Table 1. Now we'll just double click Table 1. It will then open a Properties window below. I'm now going to go ahead and rename Table 1 and so that it says Building instead. More than likely, your columns are going to be hidden. You're going to need to click here and then drag the Properties pane up in order to see your columns to add them. I'll click on the first column name below here, and we're going to go ahead and rename the first column Building Key. Now I'll click below and I'll make the next column and rename it Building Name, and then I'll continue on and so that it looks like the diagram on the right. You'll also notice that Building Key was automatically assigned the primary key and that it's set to not null, as all primary keys cannot be null. The other thing you'll notice is that there's data types being automatically created. We'll not worry about changing the data types this week. This will instead be discussed in a future week, later in the semester. Now that we have all our attributes entered, we'll go ahead and insert the next table by clicking here and then placing it, double clicking the table, and then changing the name to Room. We'll now insert all the attributes in this table. The only attribute that we're not going to be adding is the one labeled building_building key, as this is the foreign key. This is important to note, as foreign keys will be created by MySQL when you create your relationships. I'll now drag the Properties pane down and then select the dashed one-to-many relationship on the left. The first table we'll click is the one that will receive the foreign key, and then click the one that will have the primary key. You'll now notice the foreign key was automatically inserted into the Room table, and our relationship has been set. Now, what does this relationship mean? What this means is that a building can have many rooms, but that a room cannot belong to many buildings. So, for example, we might have a church that has many rooms. And then we have another church that exists at a different location. It also has many rooms. But those rooms in that church specifically belong to that building, and they don't belong to any other building. Now there may be times when you need to make a composite key out of a primary key and an existing foreign key. So if I change the foreign key to a primary key, you'll notice that the line is now, instead of a dash relationship, it's a solid relationship. This is one of the reasons why we don't need to worry about using the solid relationships in this class, as MySQL will automatically make that change for you depending on how you set the primary keys and foreign keys within the tables. I'll just go ahead and uncheck the primary key from the foreign key and put it back to a dash line. We've now successfully made our first ERD diagram. So now I'm going to show you an example of a many-to-many relationship. And then I'll also show you how to annotate a table to show what type of table it is. So first I'll start by clicking the many-to-many relationship icon, then clicking the student table, and then the course table. It really doesn't matter the order of which you click the tables, because what's going to happen is it's going to make this linking table in between automatically. Now what this means is that a student can have many courses, and that each course consists of many students. For example, we may have a student named John Smith, and John Smith might have many classes, such as English, Math, or History. Now, when John goes to attend his English class, typically he's not going to be the only person in class. There's going to be other students that surround him. So this is what it means when the course has many students. As you create ERDs this semester, you're going to have to annotate the tables to show what type of tables they are. So to do this, you'll click on the Insert Text Object icon, and then just place it as shown here. You'll double click on it, and then just change the text. So in this example, the Student Has Course table that was created is actually a linking table. So we'll call it as such. This concludes this video demonstration, and I hope that you're able to use this information this week and that it'll help you create your ERDs.